How could you not love it? How could you not love that? High-powered cars going sideways, burning their tires off, potential for hitting other cars. Everybody loves a good crash, you know? How could you not love that?
I live in a house with about 6 other people that 3 of them drift. The other 3 just love cars, so we're always doing something. I mean, if it's not working on the 240, it's working on the Mark III Supra. If it's not working on that, it's working on another 240, you know. Just constantly wrenching on a car. Right now I basically have just a stock 240. It's K24DE, completely stock. It has J30 VLSD with K-Sport coilovers, Godspeed rear control arms, and ISIS tow rods. I love the sport more than anything. Honestly, I'd much rather be in a car going sideways than straight lining or anything like that.
Man, why'd you have to do that to me? What is drifting? The art of oversteer?
Drifting is having complete control of a car that's on the verge of being out of control. It's having the proper amount of grip to get the car where you want it to and the proper amount of slip to keep the car sideways. It's really a test of everything as far as a driver.
Drifting is awesome. Drifting is just, I don't know, it's a lifestyle. It's something that I love. It's being in control and completely out of control at the same time. It's great.
I started racing when I was 7, doing like basically go-karts. Got into dirt track racing from that, and just kind of, when I turned 16, I got a street car, well, street truck. It was a 2nd gen S10. I used to play in wet parking lots with it and stuff. Because it was similar to doing the dirt track racing with the throttle control and controlling the car in a slide. Probably when I turned 22, 23, I think is when I ended up with my first 240, and it was a bug. Once I got in something that was legit, that I could actually go and do stuff with, it was an addiction. And now I've owned 5 of them at different times, building more of them. It's just, it's an addiction. It's a drug.
Express the same things but with different words. We acknowledge the same curve and those might have hurt. It's like the last line to draw to remind a pastime, a fast-minded feeling of freedom, please to be recognized. And I can't hear doctors calling from here to saying killed by his independency and oculus eel, cause he armed himself with stealthy mass appeal. Where's my muse? Where's my muse? If it's like every word slipping through my mind's been used, stagnant like the old man feeding a third. With my glass I've reflected everything that I've learned. A windowless frame in a transparent room, filling up cracks with plastic assumed.
Pretty much what brings me back to the track every time is the love for the sport, the rush, seeing your friends, seeing all my friends and, you know, everybody that has the same passion that I do. It's just something, you know, you don't just do it on a whim. You know you're going to that next event and you're trying everything you can possibly do to get there.
Drifting is important to me because really in a town where there's not a whole lot to do, it's given me something to do. In Binghamton, it's one of those small towns where everybody is either stoned out of their mind or drunk 24/7, and it's done something and brought me to a group of people that are all in love with the same thing I am. So in the same way that it's gotten me in trouble with tickets, it's kept me out of anything that could have potentially got me in any type of major trouble.
Basically, when you've got a Nissan, you can't have just one. Try to convince yourself one's a daily driver and one's a track car, and your track car tends to break, and then your daily driver becomes your drift car for a time or two or the rest of the season, or you change your mind and turn that into a track car. Just kind of, for me personally, that's how it has always ended up.
Well, usually what I would do is I'd go and I'd get a car and I'd build it to drift with, and it would end up being so nice that I wouldn't want to beat on it, and I would go buy another 240 that was going to be my drift car, and then I would build it too nice, and then I wouldn't want to beat on it. So right now I have a 89 hatchback at home. It was the first one that I built that has kind of become a parts car that supported everything else. I have my 240 truck that was going to be a drift car and came out awesome, and I have beat on it a little bit, but it just looks so nice going down the road that I hate to beat on it. I have my coupe that is my track car, and I have a 1990 hatchback that's my winter vehicle. One thing that I'm going to really miss about the coupe being on the road is I could park in the front row at a parking lot and not care.
Helping you get yours, think it's time for me to get mine. All of my life, seems like I've been waiting in line. Feels like I'm losing my mind. All of my life, I've been helping you get yours, think it's time for me to get mine. All of my life, I was always told you reap what you sow. It's like I'm planting seeds of servitude, but what does it grow? Under appreciation, no stress alleviation. Weight of the world on my shoulders, making me colder, just like the Antarctic, turning me hard to snow. Blood in my veins, just want to make blood stains. What remains in the shadow of what I used to be? Usually people see all these people using me, the person to rely on, shoulder to cry on. But wonder about the troublesome roadway that I'm on. I'm gone, I've lost my crew, you've lost your fool. Look now I'm lost in two.
I love the sport because it's almost like the extreme sports of automotive stuff. I've raced and it's been a blast, but there's nothing quite as exhilarating as going into a corner at the top of third gear and trying to be as close to somebody as you can. It's a completely unparalleled experience to anything else, and the only way to know it is to do it.
I grew up riding BMX, snowboarding, riding quads, stuff like that. Anything to get my adrenaline pumping. I've always been kind of an adrenaline junkie. Even at 30 years old, I still do all of those things.
It's almost a peaceful state of mind for me. It's a place where I can go, and when I'm drifting, all I can focus on is drifting. All the problems, all the stresses, everything else just goes away, because if you're preoccupied with anything, or you have too much going on in your head, you're not at your A game, and it's much more difficult to get in the zone and actually do it if you're thinking about everything else. So turn the music on in the car a little bit and go out and have fun with my friends, and it's a very relaxing experience.
My background in cars, basically, when I was old enough to drive, I had a little pickup truck, and just kind of got into the Honda game after that for a while, which none of us like to admit, but it happens. And then once I got into a Nissan and figured out drifting, it was pretty much right where I found myself.
As much as I would like to get to a competitive level, I don't want to lose grip of the local scene and the grassrootsness of it. It's so much fun that it really has to be a balance of a serious thing without taking it too seriously. And I feel like that's going to be something that's going to be a difficult line to walk. And I guess as long as I can keep having fun with it, I would love to be in a competitive area.
My overall goals is just to have fun. Like, I don't know, I think it's really cool having a car like this and going out to different events, meeting new people, and being able to say I've got friends all over the place, you know, that have the same passion that I do. You know, I've met a lot of people through drifting, and obviously through being online and stuff, you get to meet a lot more people that are into the same thing as you. So it's really neat just knowing that a little car that you wrench on in your garage can be something like that.
Once wintertime comes, no more haircuts, no more clothes, no more anything. It is every penny that doesn't go to rent or bills is put into the cars. Most people would think that I have some sort of serious problem, but it's just part of it. I wouldn't trade any of it for anything.